Hello, and welcome to the Peoria County Juvenile Detention Center's Prison Rape Elimination Act Volunteer Orientation. We'd first like to thank you for taking your time to volunteer with our organization. The Peoria County Juvenile Detention Center is committed to residents' safety and the safety of our staff. We have a zero-tolerance policy regarding sexual abuse and sexual harassment within our facility. This means we do not tolerate any level of sexual harassment, misconduct, or assault within the facility. While in Peoria County Juvenile Detention Center, no sexual acts will be considered consensual. Every effort will be made to prevent sexual abuse, harassment from occurring. Every allegation will be investigated, every perpetrator punished, and every victim offered services. Along with our zero-tolerance policy, our facility has policies and procedures in place that work to prevent sexual assault and how to handle an incident if one were to occur. Our facility's policies are 10.19, our PREA policy, which shows our staff and our volunteers how to be trained in prevention, detection, and how to respond if an incident were to occur. Our PREA investigations policy, 10.19a, provides a process for investigating allegations of sexual abuse and harassment in our facility. Our LGBTQI policy, 6.5a, shows that our facility's policy is for our residents to not be discriminated against due to race, age, religion, gender, identity, sexual preference. All residents will be treated the same. Residents with special needs will be accommodated for, and all residents have the same rights while detained in our facility. All information regarding our policies will be found attached to our website after this presentation. What does PREA mean for you? Our residents have the right to complete their stay with dignity and to be free from sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and retaliation. You have the right to volunteer in our facility with dignity and to be free from sexual abuse, sexual harassment, and retaliation. PREA is a federal law which requires our facility to uphold these rights. We at the Peoria County Juvenile Detention Center provide resident education to ensure our residents are aware of these rights. Staff are trained on resident rights along with prevention, detection, and response to incidents of sexual harassment and assault. What is sexual abuse? There are two types of sexual abuse: resident on resident, resident and staff or volunteer. Consensual sexual relationships are prohibited in our facility. Examples of sexual abuse between resident and resident would consider any contact between the mouth, penis, vulva, or anus, any contact between the penis and vulva, penis and anus, including penetration, and any other intentional touching, either directly or through clothing, of the genitalia, anus, groin, breast, inner thigh, or the buttocks of another person, excluding contact incidental to a physical altercation. Examples of sexual abuse between resident and staff, volunteer, or contractor would be contact between the penis and the vulva, penis and anus, including penetration, contact between the mouth and penis, vulva, or anus, any other intentional contact, either directly or through the clothing, of genitalia, anus, groin, breast, inner thigh, or buttocks that is unrelated to official duties as a staff member, contractor, or volunteer, if they have the intent to abuse, arouse, or gratify sexual desire. Any attempt, threat, or request by a staff member, contractor, or volunteer to engage in any of the listed activities. What is sexual harassment? Sexual harassment includes repeated and unwelcome sexual advances, requests for sexual favors, inappropriate sexual comments. Harassment can come from a resident, staff, or volunteer. Examples of sexual harassment would be verbal comments, gestures, or actions of a derogatory or offensive sexual nature by one resident to another. Repeated verbal comments or gestures of a sexual nature to a resident by a staff, volunteer, or contractor. Demeaning references to a gender of a resident by a staff, volunteer, or contractor. Sexually suggestive or derogatory comments about body or clothing of a resident by a staff, volunteer, or contractor. It is important that as a volunteer, you understand what is considered an appropriate boundary within the facility. Romantic relationships are prohibited between residents and volunteers. Examples of inappropriate boundaries would be asking a resident for their personal information, such as court dates, home address, or phone number, calling to speak with a resident without approval from administration, horseplay or touching residents outside of general handshakes, or unapproved communication once a resident is released from the Peoria County Juvenile Detention Center's custody. How can you report? There are multiple methods of reporting an allegation while in the facility. You can tell a facility staff member if you're comfortable doing so. You can use the facility grievance box located in the lobby. You can call the PREA hotline from a blue phone, which is located in our medical or visitation areas. Directly dials to the Center for Prevention of Abuse hotline. You can call the Center for Prevention of Abuse number hotline at 1-800-559-SAFE from your personal phone, or you can call the Peoria County Sheriff's Department at 697-8515. In the event a resident verbally reports an allegation or a volunteer witnesses an incident occur, it is the responsibility of the volunteer to immediately contact a facility staff member. Retaliation. It is a policy of the Peoria County Juvenile Detention Center that residents, staff, and volunteers are free from retaliation for reporting an allegation. Any individual who cooperates with an investigation is free from retaliation. Individuals can use the methods of reporting that we just went over to report incidents of retaliation. Our volunteers can use the same form of reporting as staff and residents. Management will monitor residents, staff, and volunteers who have made a report or cooperated with an investigation to ensure that they are safe from retaliation. False reporting. All allegations and reports are taken seriously. Every allegation is investigated. Making false allegations is considered a serious incident while in our facility. Allegations reported within good faith by volunteers, even if unfounded, will not result in corrective action. Making false allegations could result in termination of services with the facility and could result in charges being filed by the local law enforcement agency. For any further information, you can contact your agency's head for volunteering. You can contact our PREA coordinator, Jessica Durbin, or a facility assistant superintendent. Their numbers and contact information are located on the slide. Thank you, and once again, we're very appreciative of you volunteering your services to our agency.